It's me, Amy from Amy J's Creations, coming back to you after almost exactly a month. I'm very happy. I meant to film slightly earlier, but as you will hear throughout my update and everything, there was a lot going on. And you can hear by my voice, the main thing was this whole week I have been so sick. Monday and Tuesday, I literally stayed in bed all day. And then Wednesday morning, I had to work. Fortunately, only two little old ladies came into the library, and I made sure to stay very far back. And yeah, so, and then yesterday, I was kind of feeling slightly better, but had to then do all the stuff that didn't get done while I was laying in bed and or working, like the kitchen. I mean, okay, they emptied and filled the dishwasher, but everybody in my family but me is allergic to washing pots. So like almost every pot and pan in our house was dirty. Um, I had sort of managed to throw a load in of laundry here and there. Normally I wash it all on Mondays. That needed to all get folded and put away. Yeah. So anyway, here I am now, and I've got some tea in case things get horrible. Let's just go. Okay. I am going to start out with my fully finished objects because that's so fun to show off. So, as I said, I have a stack of things that are have been finished for quite a while, and I've just been stitching, and I need to get some of them. I need to get them all fully finished so that I can start filling them up with all my finishes again. So I picked out these two little stitches that I did last summer and turned them into cute little pillows with this little fishy fabric. And this, what's this called? You know what that funny yarn. Oh my gosh, I can't. Anyway, that fluffy extra yarn. I bought a box of it at the last time we were in Zweigart for our stitching meeting. Excuse me. There's a store there called Action, and they have the most fun stuff. I would say it's like Big Lots in the States, if that's still a thing or in your area. Anyway, and they had chenille. They had this box of like 6 or 9 different chenille yarns for very, very cheap. And I immediately picked it up going, that'll be good for finishes. And I think it works great with these little pillows. So those are my first little finish. And then I received this jewelry box from my awesome friend, Jackie. I don't think you watch my English ones, but I'll say a special hello to her in my German one. Like over a year ago. And I hemmed and hawed about how to finish it. It's kind of a little too big to take as an actual travel case, but I wanted something that was really cute for like, I have all these needles, and right now all the packages of needles are stashed everywhere, or like all the beeswax I have. And if I happen to have an extra pair of scissors that is not actually already in a project bag. So but I wasn't sure how to finish it. So I stitched this. I watched several videos, and this is at the top. I hemmed and hawed about putting it inside or outside. And I also thought about putting it so that when it's open, when like the lid is up, it's facing the right way. But this is just going to be for my house. And so I wanted it to be the correct way when it was displayed on there. And again, I did this is some of that purple chenille that I got at Action, and this is some teal rickrack that I had in my stash of trimmings. Mounted it on the matting board, and then I used Eileen's tacky glue, and then weighted it down with my sewing weights for a couple of days while it dried. Now, the inside, This is not professional looking at all. And fortunately, pretty much besides you people watching this video right now, no one else is going to see this, which is good because I messed up on this thing so bad. I still love it, but oh my gosh. Okay, first of all, do you notice that it doesn't stay open? Because when I ripped off this back, I reapplied the ribbon that supposed to hold it open in completely the wrong way. So there's that. So again, makes no sense to attach this where you can see it when it's open, because no, you can't. No, you can't. Then I wanted to make a little pocket because this was just like a flat mirror. And I thought, oh, that'll be cute. Well, I do have little pockets, but is it straight? No. I swear I cut this material straight. And then when I gathered it, it was put the elastic in. It was too big. Like you couldn't see any of the purple. You couldn't barely get anything in there. So I trimmed it off. I swear I thought I trimmed it off straight, but apparently because it was already gathered, no, it was not. It looks, oh, sorry. When I laugh, I cough. It looks like it was put together by a drunk person, and I don't drink any alcohol at all. So imagine the horrors if I did. Yeah, but I'm not undoing it. I'm not undoing it. Then here is the inside. This part was surprisingly easy. I sewed a mat, and then, well, I cut out a piece of cloth, and then kind of folded the edges like under to make a seam and sewed around. I don't know if you can see. I sewed around and then I just laid it flat in there. And at first I wasn't going to glue it in, but then I decided, nah, you better glue that in. But I was glad I hadn't glued it in until I realized, oh yeah, I wanted to put something cute around the outside because otherwise it was just this gray part here. Did I cover this part? No, couldn't figure out how, and couldn't be bothered. And also, to be completely honest, this was glued in, and then I realized, oh crap. So I probably could figure it out on the second one, but there isn't gonna be a second one. So that's just how that is now. Then I covered the individual. This originally had many more dividers. I took some of them out because I wanted one big open space for a certain object, which you will see soon. It's in my gifts that I have received. But yeah, that is my finally functioning. And then all my different needles of the different sizes will go in here. Maybe some like beeswax that I've been given will go in here. My snag nabbit, things like that. Yeah, and then extra scissors can go in these little pockets. That is my finally done storage case. Thank you again, Jackie. And I'm really happy with how this came out on the top. Okay. I mentioned gifts, but I'm not there yet. We're going to go into my whips. Now, my first whip I'm going to show you is my Van Gogh Never Met the Fellowship from Unconventional X-Stitch. I am stitching this 2 over with 2 lengths of floss per stitch, full cross on an 18 count gridded Aida. And I will say this, I am not quite at 50%, but remember how I have extra time? Yeah, so I took a little break again, but I did get a lot of stitches because the last time I filmed this, I think I was at 40, not quite 45, maybe I was, but now I'm at like 49.27 or something. So I did work on it quite a bit. A lot of what I did, you cannot see. Why? Because it's 3865. Let me see if I can get this close up. Right there in those mountains. Can you see that there's mountains now? And then, so that was a big chunk. And there's a big chunk right down here in that corner. Yeah, and there's a huge giant chunk right there in that corner. I know. I told you I wasn't going to do the white until the very end because it was so hard to see where the stitches were going to go, to have them, even though I marked them off in my pattern keeper, the way it like, how it was marking it off was using the color of the floss. And so it was like coloring them white, which was confusing me. They weren't completely blocked out. Well, I brought this to work on a stitchy weekend getaway that I had with my stitchy friends. And the amazingly talented and creative engineer woman, Evie, um, I mentioned it to her and she's like, give me your tablet. So she takes my tablet, has me back my pattern keeper, and now the stitches that I've already stitched are all in gray, even the white ones. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's a whole new world. Thank you so much. And because of that one change, I was able to start working on the white stitches. And there were like, at the time when I started, it was some crazy amount, like 19,000 stitches. Well, now I'm down to like 11,000, 12,000. Yeah, it's like 11,000, something like that, because of Evie and her amazing help. I am so excited. But because I did have a little extra time, like I said, I took a couple week break. I will get back to this starting next week. But I had made some really good progress, and I decided to pay extra attention to some of my other whips. And oh, fine, there was a new start in there, but sue me, why don't you? Okay. So I mentioned the little stitchy getaway. I will get more into that. One of the other, I had another getaway. Like I said, I am so lucky with how much I get to travel. And partially it's just because I literally live in the middle of Europe. And so lots of things are accessible for not very much money and for not very much travel time. So last weekend, my husband, now he had told me quite a bit in advance. I'm going to get a drink because my throat is getting a little. He told me in advance I needed to block off these days for a surprise. That was all he told me. I knew nothing. I had to tell work I couldn't work for those 3 days. Couldn't go anywhere. Don't plan anything else. And the night before we left, he finally told me partly that we were going to London. Now, I love London. It's an hour and 20-minute flight. Hour and 5 minutes if the pilot pushes it and there's a good tailwind. We were going to go to London for 3 days. Ecstatic. But he didn't tell, and so we kind of planned some fun things we could do. And then he says, but Wednesday night, don't plan anything because we're going to be busy. What are we going to do? He wouldn't tell me. Okay, but I need to know what to pack. Should I, is it a jeans kind of thing or is it a skirt kind of thing? He's like, you'll be comfortable in both. I said, okay, indoor, outdoor, indoor. Okay. I ended up wearing a skirt, but like a casual, like a jeans denim skirt thing. It was a Josh Groban concert. I have only seen him one time before, and it was like 15, 16 years ago when he came to Lucerne. It was so fun. It was lovely. We went into the O2 Arena, which is outside London. And listen, as many times as I have been to London, every trip we see something new. That's why I love it. This time, so I'd never been out to that area before at all, and we've never been to the O2 Arena. We went out to the Battery C power plant, which never been to that area before, and walked all around there. Really cute area. The mall was really nice, but also the area around it. They have all these little apartments, like large apartments for families. A beautiful little park. It's right, on the river. Very nice. What else? Oh, we finally went into St. Paul's Cathedral. We've walked past it all the time, but it was always like, okay, us and our 5 kids, uh, that's like almost as much as we spent on our airline tickets to get here to go into this thing. Not quite, it's an exaggeration, but still it was like, no. So when it was just us two, we went. Oh, really cool. And the highlight, of course, well, 2 highlights. One, the down in the crypt, because I love me a good graveyard. So down in the crypt and saw some of the famous people's burial spots, including Florence Nightingale. And then we walked from the crypt down in the basement all the way up to the tippy top. It's like 600 stairs. The official count is like 500 and something if you start on the main floor, but because we started down on the basement, I'm bumping it up to almost 600. And I at one point going down, actually going up, we stopped a couple times. You stop at, there's like 3 levels, so you go up to the Whispering Gallery and you can kind of catch your breath and look at everybody down there and look at all the art and from a completely different point of view. That's on this part of the ceilings. And then you go up a little higher and you look down again, and then you go up even higher. But now you can only look down into the cathedral from this tiny window that they have built onto the floor, and you can see straight down to the bottom of the floor in the underneath the dome, like just in front of the altar. And then you're outside with this fantastic view. Going, like I said, so because we stopped at each of those 3 places, I did not die. But then coming back down, I was getting a little dizzy, and my legs at the end, I said to my husband, my legs are pretty shaky. Can we stop here for a second? And fortunately, there is literally, here's for anybody who hasn't been to London, St. Paul's is right here. And there's like a little street in front of it, okay? And right there on that corner, so literally zigzag across the street from St. Paul's Cathedral is a grocery store, good old Tesco's. So we went in and I grabbed myself a cool bottle of water, gulped that down, and I was like, okay, the time it took me to drink that and the drink itself, we're good to go. It was lovely. And now I've got plans for the next time we go, but it was a great trip. So I brought several things to work on because I knew I would have 2 plane rides, and time in the evenings, perhaps in the hotel once or twice. So one of the things I brought with me, I didn't want to bring my giant full coverage, but I brought my little Hogwarts or Harry Potter people. This is from Daily Magic Stitch, and I'm working on Ron Weasley, and we stitch them on plastic canvas, and they're going to be stand-ups. All right. So I got quite a bit of work done, and then I worked on him a little bit more once we got back home. That same day we got back home, so I could finish up his hair. So it's a front and back thing. And so because of that, I decided that I would work on both sides at the same time. So that I didn't finish the front side and go, forget it, I don't want to do the back. And in fact, I started with the back to force myself to do both of them. So I would do one of the orange colors here, and then do it over here. Then do the next orange over here, and then finish it up over here. And then there's 3 different colors of oranges in his hair. And got was all done. Let me see if I can show you really quick what he will look like when he's all done. Do I have it? Yeah, kind of. I'll just hold it back here. He kind of looks like this. And then these are his little arms that I've already done that you attach separately so that everything is able to be moved around. Kind of cool. So I brought that to work on. And then the other, oh, I just realized I have another thing I'm supposed to bring. I brought my Hold on just a second. I brought my Sunday stitch because even though we weren't flying on Sunday, I hadn't worked on it. And so I thought, well, I'll just bring it with and make up that one day. And this was I worked on it on the plane. And this is my Joyful Christmas from Shepherd's Bush that I got when we went to the cross-stitch store in French-speaking Switzerland. And oh, look, guess what's in my bag? We flew Swiss, and they give you chocolate before landing, and my husband doesn't eat it because the milk chocolate usually has ground hazelnuts in it, and he's deathly allergic to those. So little snack for later when I'm cross-stitching. Okay, so I worked on this a little bit. Oh, there goes my scissors. Let me put those back in. And I didn't even get my board, did I? Oh well. Okay, so this has still got the needle in it because that's how I roll. I stitch until, I'm done. I worked on quite a few little things. Did a lot of the stable. It's actually, the stable is completely stitched. It just needs to be backstitched. And I finished up quite a few things with baby Jesus and Mary and Joseph. And I did make a small start on the sheep from the shepherd on one side, as you can see there. And the white's not there, but his little sheepy legs and face are there. And then this over here, I had a lot more done and then had to rip it all out because I had started too high. It is a treasure box that the wise men are bringing their treasures in. So I worked on that. And that was because Tuesday when we got there, so when it was the plane ride, I got quite a bit of time. And then we walked around. What did we do that first day? We went to Waterstones, the big bookstore. There was something else and I'm completely blanking on it. But anyway, my husband was kind of tired, and so we went back to the hotel, not early, but like early-ish. And so I had time to stitch while we watched TV, or he read, actually. Okay, I have to tell you the best story. So, we went to that first day. We got fish and chips at a pub that's just right down from our hotel, and it was called the Crutched Friar. Cute little pub. Been there for just a few hundred years. It's kind of new on the block, and it was the first time my husband had tried fish and chips. Every time we go, I get it because they all taste different and they're all delicious. And so this time I convinced him, and he was like, "Oh, that is good." And I was like, "Listen, no joke. Of all the fish and chips I've eaten, I am super happy that this one is the first time you're trying it because this is the best fish and chips I've ever had." The fish, I said, "It doesn't taste fishy at all, does it?" And he's like, "No." And I said, "Exactly." So the fish inside was so tender and flaky, you barely had to chew it. It just kind of melted in your mouth. Super fresh. And then the batter coating was just like, it sounded like you were literally eating potato chips. That's how crunchy it was. It was so good. So good. Ugh. I know people like to make fun of English food, but man, some things they just do right. And that was one of them. So that was lovely. I'm trying to think what else we did that night. I honestly can't remember. Our hotel was right by the Tower of London, which is a different area than we've ever stayed in before. And so even just walking around was very fun because you just see different parts of the town that you don't normally see. And of course, right across the street was the Four Seasons. We're not fancy enough for that, but our hotel was pretty nice. And the fact that it was on the same road as them, it was like Very, very safe. Uh, yeah. Okay. I'm gonna show you another cross stitch project, and then I'll tell you more London stories because I seriously, I just love that city. So the other project I brought with me was the Easter project because it was still technically before Easter, and I wanted to work a little bit more on it. I had finished. I've bought 6 of these. This is the Hoppy Hollow Easter Village. It's from Vintage Tulip Design. And I think she has like 9 or 12 total. I picked out 6 that I like the very best. And this was the third one that I was stitching. And I brought that with me, got quite a bit of work done, and worked on it again here and there all over Easter weekend, and a little bit on Monday when I was laying in bed. I did stitch on a bit and managed to finish it up. So that now is, oh, there's a little string. So that is the first row of the first 3 little patterns. I am changing all the colors. She recommends using XU Designs floss, which is also very pretty, but it was a darker palette than I like myself. You'll notice like her green on here is a super like almost foresty green, and I love pastels, and I love Easter designs because of those softer colors. And so while I still did use like a red and a darkerish blue, I lightened them up quite a bit. I will do the next 3, who knows when, and eventually this will be turned into a wall, a little mini wall hanging. But yeah, there's that. And I still have not cut down this fabric. And there's a reason for that. I am running out of space in my fabric drawers, but next weekend I am going once again to the Swag Art Factory for another stitching meetup, and I already have a shopping list. Now granted, it's only got 3 items on it, but you never know what's going to be in the Schnäppchen-Ecke, which is basically the bargain bin, but it's like a little corner of the shop, and there are some great deals in there. So anyway, I've got to make some room, and the way I'm cheating and making room, because you can only stitch so fast, is kitting up stuff using a huge giant piece of fabric so that there's technically more room in the drawer. I know, I'm such a cheating cheater. Yeah. Anyway, okay, so in London, need another drink? How we usually do it when my husband and I travel alone is we eat breakfast as late as possible before they stop serving breakfast, which is usually around 10ish. And we eat, because it's, included, or you've paid a little extra for it. We get our money's worth. We make sure we get our money's worth and eat ridiculous amounts of breakfast, when most of the time at home, both of us don't even eat breakfast. Okay. So we fill up on this giant breakfast at 9:30, 10, and then we don't eat again until like 3:34, and then we don't really have dinner. Like, if so, we just grab a little tiny something at the grocery store and then go to bed. That's how we do it when we travel to C&I. So the day of the Josh Groban concert, it was getting around 4:30. It was getting a little bit later, but we had gone back to the hotel to chill for a bit because that was the day we walked up to the stairs. We did like 22,000 steps that day, and at the top of the cathedral. So we needed a little rest. We both did. He was tired too. So after about a half an hour chilling on our bed, literally just laying there in the hotel room, we're like, okay, where's somewhere close by that we can go to eat? Now, again, my husband has a lot of food allergies, so he can't just willy-nilly go into any restaurant. The fish and chips were safe. They were really good. That restaurant, the pub, was really good about listing all their allergens, and they like marked his food. There wasn't any celery came near it, but they did very good about keeping him safe from that. So he felt safe eating that, but he always has to know beforehand, like, what is the possibility that there's going to be a lot of celery? For example, he will not go to a Chinese restaurant because celery and celery salt and celery root are in so many Chinese dishes, and he will die. Cooked or raw, it doesn't matter. So to avoid a funeral at the end of our travels, he doesn't go there, and he's very picky about where he eats. But we have had really, really good success with Italian restaurants. Celery is not a thing that they use very often. And so he kind of researched, he was, looking on, I don't know where he was, but he was Googling different places to eat. And he's like, oh, there's this one Italian place, but it's really, really close to our hotel, which means it's really, really close to Tower of London. So it's probably really touristy. I don't want to go there. It's probably not that great, and it's going to be a little bit more expensive. So then he looked a little further, and he's like, okay, just a couple blocks further away towards like the city, the downtown financial area, there's this like little Italian restaurant. Now, okay, financial district, it could be more expensive, but it's like, it looked like this little tiny family owned place. So we felt good about it. So we walk, and it was like, I loved it because you're on the main road, and then we turned off the main road to this like little side street. And then we turned off that little side street into this like little alley. And then we turned off that alley into an even tinier alley. And that's where this restaurant was. Okay. Like, it's not a restaurant that you just come across because you're wandering around the bustling streets of London. You have gotten Google Maps to tell you exactly how to get here because you want Italian food. And we go in, and it's a tiny place. And all the people who work there they speak English, but with an Italian accent. Like, they are Italians running this place. Excellent. And it's like 4:30. So it's not like a lunchtime. It's not a dinner time. But there were 3 tables of people there. It's 3 separate tables. And we're like, okay, so even at an odd time to eat, it's good enough food that there's these people here. So great. We'll come too. We picked great. So we order our food, and the waitress is super nice, blah, blah, blah. I'm eating my salad that I ordered before my delicious seafood linguine came. And there's a guy off here to our right, my right, who is all by himself, and he's got this stack of papers, and it looks like he's doing bookkeeping or filling out tax forms or something. But he has like a glass of wine with him. And Chris was like, I think he's probably the owner or the manager because he's just sitting there taking up a table. But we didn't ask the waitress or anything. We just kind of assumed. So I'm sitting there, and then there's a table here of 3 guys directly behind us, but 2 tables in between. So they're on the opposite side of the restaurant. There's another table of 3 guys. And then kitty corner from us, there is a table of 2 guys. Okay. And that's it. And then there's only like 3 other empty tables in this restaurant. It's not big. So I'm eating my salad, and all of a sudden the one table of the 3-4 guys by the window stands up because they're getting ready to leave. And literally every other person in the restaurant at all the other tables stood up, and they all started shaking their hands and saying goodbye to each other and how nice to see you again. These people had been, including the owner guy, these people had been sitting at these tables, not interacting, not even making eye contact with any of these other people at all the entire time we'd been sitting there. And then all of a sudden, one table gets up to leave, and everybody gets up, and they're all saying goodbye to each other. And me and Chris, our eyes got huge, and we're like, what is happening? Like, how do these people all know each other? Are we allowed to be here? I mean, they took our order, but like, do you have, like... Are we being rude and coming here to this restaurant when it's clearly a certain circle of people who all know each other that eats here? Like, what is happening? And because I have no problem at all asking questions, the waitress came over, and I very quietly said to her, I'm like, what is the deal? How do these guys all know each other? Why are they all saying goodbye? And she goes, I have no idea. It's my first day working. And so we just busted up because it's like, okay, so we are the only three people who don't know what's going on in this entire restaurant. They all say, we figured it out afterwards through context clues, and I will admit eavesdropping on some of the conversations, that these men, besides the owner, all work in the city. They're all city bros, financial guys. It's like Wall Street. It's like London's Wall Street is city boys. But that's what they call them, as city boys. And some of them were currently still working. Some of them were retired, and they had all met up to like keep connections and see old friends or whatever. And the owner knows them because of where this restaurant is located. When they were working, the guys who were retired, and when and the other people who are still currently working, that's where they go often for lunch. Like, it's a regular joint place. So it is like a locals only area, but they were fine to feed us too because we weren't there during the lunch rush. Best experience ever. And the food was divine. It was so good. Anyway, that's our hilarious story of we were just like, and that's what I mean. Like, it's not like we went to go see, I don't know, inside Buckingham Palace, but it was still an awesome experience and one of my favorite stories to tell from the trip. So you don't always have to do what everybody else is doing to still have a great and exciting time. Okay, before we left, it was the 25th. And so I worked on my cherry garden from Twin Creek Primitives. This is the cross stitch. It's my New Year's leap day, not New Year's, leap day stitch. But I do it on the 25th because I'm doing it in remembrance of my brother, my older brother, who was born on February 25th. So for March, this was March 25th. I worked on it. What did I do? Well, I did a little on the guy. No, I did the trees, the tree trunks. Yeah, this whole tree. And I had started a little bit of this tree, and I finished it completely up and then did the other tree. So yeah. This is going to look so good when it's done. Oh, I'm so excited. And then I talked about a new start. I had kitted this up, and but I don't think I had started it during my last Flosstube. But I had kitted it up and it was calling to me. And I finally went ahead and listened to it, answered it, and started on it. These are the Stitch Card Set P by Lori Holt, and they are the stitching ones. So they're kind of like sewing room and cross stitch. So but there's sewing machine and the quilts. Well, hold on, quilt. And and the sewing threads. And do you remember last month I showed you my super cute cube that I made with the winter set? Well, that's exactly what I'm going to do with this one as well. Let me pull this needle through, or at least move it down here. Okay. And I decided, rather than decorating the top like I did with the winter one, I made up my own 5th little side. So what's going to happen is I did this one, and I found on Pinterest a quilt block, like cross stitch pattern, and I modified it a little bit to fit in the space that I had. And so these are the ones that Lori Holt did, and these is the quilt block that I made up. And then this one I think is going to be the top, because it's I might make it the back of the cube. I'm not sure, but anyway, the others one is going to be the top, and then one is going to go around the four sides, and then of course the bottom will just be the fabric plain. I don't need to stitch that. None of them are completely done except for this quilt square block, but all of them are in various stages and probably will only take another night or two of stitching to finish up. I did change the colors to my favorite colors, and like the scissors here, rather than making them red, I gave them gold handles because I have at least 2, maybe 3, perhaps 4 pairs of scissors where the handles are gold and then the cutter is silver. And so that's what I'm doing with those scissors. So that is my new start that is also almost a finish now. It's gotten really, really far. So that is what I worked on, and I am very happy with my efforts. Okay, so I mentioned a couple things. One of them is a stitchy weekend that I went on. And that was the end of March. It was middle of March. It was the middle of March. And we rented a Airbnb in Stein am Rhein. And there are 6 of us total. Yes. One lady could only come for Saturday, but the rest of us stayed Friday to Sunday evening. And we stitched and stitched and laughed and laughed and laughed. And of course, there were gifts given. So I am going to bring these over here. Okay, so amazing, awesome Evie. She made us this beautiful tea, coffee dyed, and baked fabric. I am definitely going to stitch something awesome on there, and I believe this looks awfully small, although I don't have my glasses on. I want to say it's either a 36 or a 40 count, so loving that. And then she gave us this adorable tin cassette tape. Hello. And inside it had, look, one of those little scissors that's gold and silver. And this is a seam ripper. And look, I'm already using it. She gave us a snag nabbit. I don't think you can see that. But there's a snag nabbit, a little witchy hat, because our group is called the Black-Hearted Witches. And then a couple needles as well. And one of the needles is already in my project because one of the projects I brought, I forgot the needle. Yeah. So anyway, that was from Evie. Then wonderful Francie from Color Fever, that's her Etsy shop. She always finds the cutest bags. Like, I don't know. I guess she must bulk order them to send out orders for when people, order stuff from her store. But she gave us a couple needle minders. This one is a beautiful flower. I can't even tell if that is showing up here. Hold on, let me see if I can. I don't have any idea, any way of showing this. Or, seeing if it's focusing or not. So anyway, I'll just hold it like that and hope it's good. It is a little flower, needle minder, gorgeous, and that's going to come there now. And then this one is a little rabbit, and she's said extra. She's like, oh, I picked that one especially for you, Amy. I'm not exactly sure why, to be honest, but I love it. I absolutely love it. So we each got different animals. It was very cute. And they're like lightweight, thin wood. It's beautiful. Oh, there we go. Oh no. I will reglue that. Hold on a second. The magnet is so strong. It's stronger than the glue. Okay, and then there's 2 of them. And then of course, because she's Color Fever, she gave us some floss. And I have bought both of these colors, I'm pretty sure, from her before. She knows that I love the color purple, for sure. And so she extra gave me that purpley color. And then that brown is just Really, really good. It's like that soft pinky brown, really gorgeous. Floss. And one is, nope, they're both silks. So yes, it helps to have super creative, awesome business owner friends who are also super generous and like to share their their labors with you. Actually, no, yeah, I better put this back in here because I got to film this again in German. Okay. Then, Ina brought us all t-shirts. Um, two different t-shirts. Super awesome. They're like witchy inspired. Very cool. Claire, lovely, wonderful Claire, cooked for us the entire weekend, which was the bomb because she's a great cook. And she made nachos that, like, I know for sure I took a second helping, not because I was still hungry, but because it was so delicious. I wanted to keep eating it. So thank you, Claire. And then our amazing friend, Shauna. If you are ever at a retreat where you get to meet Shauna Sprague, count yourself so lucky. She is so amazing. This is what she gifted us, this box. We all got a stitching familiar. Okay. Her daughter drew the frog. What was inside? Well, first of all, there were these awesome stickers. And then there's some scissors and a cute with a little froggy on it, one of the little tins, and it's got a needle threader and one of those eyelashy things and some needles. The ones, to clean off when you have to frog. And then a seam ripper as well. And then she cross-stitched and sewed us our little frogs, our own little frogs. Each person got a frog. It's a different color. They're all different. They are, look, and he's not an ugly frog. He's the most beautiful frog you've ever freaking seen in your life. With black work. Not on one side, no, because Shauna doesn't do anything halfway. No, Shauna does things completely over the top amazing. And look at his little beady eyes. Oh. And so, now that I've shown him on this video, he is going to live inside my stitchy box. But maybe he's going to live on top of my stitchy box because he's so beautiful. Oh. And I know her idea was you could just take this little box everywhere. And I really love that too. But he's so, and maybe I will just kind of keep him in here with the lid on so he doesn't get dusty. But also he's like a pincushion. He's to be used. And oh, I forgot the best part. Hold on. Homegirl sewed, there's magnets in his hand so he can hold your scissors for you while you stitch. She sewed these. If you are ever so lucky as to get a smalls exchange from Shauna, you have won the lottery. Okay, so Claire, and before the stitchy weekend, which was amazing, and basically we just chatted and stitched the entire weekend. Claire had cleaned out, and I keep mentioning her. Claire, she has a YouTube channel, but she hasn't filmed in forever, and she's probably not because her child is the one who used to do the editing, but now they're off at college being awesome and can't regularly edit their mom's videos anymore. So, but anyway, what was her YouTube name? It'll come to me tonight at 2 a.m. when it doesn't matter. But anyway, she was cleaning out some of her stuff and asked us if we wanted to purchase any of it. And yes, I did. So I got this Christmas cross-stitch book from her. I I got some perforated paper, real perforated paper from her, because I'm not super sure I'm excited about the plastic stuff coming out. I'm sure it will be fine, but I really like the paper. I don't have any issues with it like other people. And then she brought up some little bits of fabric, and this is a gorgeous, gorgeous opalescent. So I snagged that. And then she had a few memorabilia patterns. And so I bought my very first memorabilia pattern. Now I have lavender and lace, and even my Christmas Celtic Christmas that I've started. This is my first memorabilia, and it's Lady Alexandra. And the reason I chose her is because that's my daughter's name is Alexandra, and I showed it to her, and she's like, "I like those colors," so I will be stitching this for her. And I have kitted this up almost all the way. There's a few beads that I need to order, but otherwise I have almost everything in my extensive supply. And I have some really nice grayish fabric. And I have decided that I'm going to participate in Mirabilia May. And I am going to try to work on this every day in May. I've never done that before, but I think it will be fun now that I have an actual Mirabilia. And I probably won't get it done in 1 month because I'll also be working on my full coverage in the evenings. But during the day, I will work on this and we'll see how far we get. And there is one last amazing, super awesome purchase that I made. It was only 38 francs, so not expensive, but it's going to pay for itself many times over. It is a miter saw. Okay, now it's a miter box with a saw. This is not one of those super expensive like actual miter saws, like motored saws, right? Like this is the motor right here, but it's a miter box. It's got clamps so that I can now, having watched several videos on YouTube, size down all of these frames. I have so many frames, gorgeous frames from IKEA, from thrift stores, bought on clearance from Michael's or Hobby Lobby when I was lucky enough to go there. So many frames that I can now perfectly match to projects because of this here thing. Instead of having to order them special, custom made, even from anywhere, I just take these, like, I don't know, I have at least 20, 25 frames laying around. I can just cut them down. And then if I find, I can go to the thrift store at will. And I don't even have to worry about the right size. I can just look and go, that's a beautiful frame. I shall purchase that and take it home, and I can make it fit whatever I want it to because I got my miter saw box. That is a great, great purchase. Okay, this is probably one of the longest videos I have filmed in a very long time, and I've done it all with a crazy, scratchy voice. Thank you for sticking around. I will have much to tell next time I film next month as well, because like I said, next week we're going to the Stitchy meetup at Zweigart in Sindelfingen, and I am going to the States for a week for my daughter's graduation in the very last bit of April and then the first part of May. And so, yes, much to show and discuss there as well. Until then, everyone, I hope that if you celebrated, that you had a lovely Easter, that you are not sick like I am, that you are healthy, or if you do have long-term health problems, that right now you're in a more positive spot, a easier spot. I have several friends with chronic illnesses, and I know it kind of goes in a wave, and so you just really enjoy those days when you're feeling good. And you're feeling good is probably most everybody else is feeling horrible, but because you so often feel absolutely down in the depths, when you're up to the level of somebody's not feeling great, you're like, I can conquer the world. So So I hope that's where you're at. And I will see you again in a month. Bye, everybody.